So there we have a wide range of risible, or at least genuinely worrying policies, which should ensure we will never get the sight of Polanski or one of his successors walking into Downing Street as Prime Minister. I will concede this, however. The Greens have admittedly surged, and they've done very well. They are sure to win a handful of seats next election, adding to the 4 picked up last year. There is no reason in a democracy they should not stand on their beliefs, and there is no reason that Labour should be entitled to the votes of the left. Corbyn and Sultana over at the shambolic Your Party are also risible, but I respect their right to present their platform. Corbyn holding onto his seat in 2024 was a rewarding sight, if only for the schadenfreude of Starmer. In the same way, a spurned Pfizer Shaheen stubbornly torpedoing Labour in Chinkford was rewarding. But that is all the praise you will get out of me. They would be a disaster for this country, and I will do my small part to oppose them and stop them ever succeeding. The concerning nature of the Greens' agenda is leading to a backlash from the establishment, who are employing the nastier side of politics to attack them. That's the reality of politics, and I won't say I don't enjoy a bit of ad hominem. Polanski, of course, is playing the better man and saying that's all they've got, despite slinging some unfounded mud of his own. On Question Time, he openly labelled Zia Youssef as a fascist and Reform as a fascist party, hardly the hallmark of a mature and reasonable discussion. The ad homs have focused on his crooked and gappy teeth. As an owner of crooked and gappy teeth, I couldn't give him a hard time about those. I didn't want to wear braces, what can I say? I find Polanski's voice pretty unbearable, and his grin of the shit-eating variety, but these are more reliable signifiers of character than dentistry is. Nonetheless, it is his regressive policies we need to concentrate on, or we hand him the moral high ground. Or do we? Because the left have long focused on appearance, from frog-face Farage to Johnson's unruly hair and Liz Truss's long neck. Anne Widdecombe's frumpiness, Trump's fake tan, and Therese Coffey's weight are other examples, and we haven't even mentioned Mrs. Thatcher. This is human nature, the bullying aspect of social media and the vehement passions of politics. Don't let the modern leftists pretend they don't indulge. The other focus in attacking Polanski is his name change. He was originally named David Paulden. Paulden was the anglicised version of the family name, adopted when the Polanskis migrated from Eastern Europe. The story is they were trying to avoid anti-Semitism. Restoring that is understandable, performative though it might be. I might have avoided it given the alleged misdeeds of their namesake Roman, but there we are. However, changing David to Zach is rather ridiculous. He changed his first name because his dad, who had divorced his mother, was also called David. But Zach was chosen because it was supposedly a homage to a character in the 1980s novel, then TV drama, Goodnight Mr. Tom. A Jewish evacuee becomes best friends with the protagonist, but then returns to London and very symbolically dies in an air raid, likely a subtext about the Holocaust. Now, the TV version is quite good, with stellar acting from John Thor, but I'm not sure I would base my own name on it. The young David apparently grew up in a proudly Jewish and pro-Israel household, so decided to pick the most Jewish name, without a steen, possible. Now he holds on to it, which probably gives him some exotic BAME points, as well as cover when attacking the policies of Israel. This makes comment on the name change fair, but it's hardly damning. More damning is the now infamous experiment Polanski conducted as a medical hypnotherapist. The details of the incident are contested, with Team Green trying to pretend the Sun made it up. That's the spin, but here's what we know. In his Harley Street practice, £220 for 90 minutes, Polanski was specialising in the application of hypnosis to body image. The Sun, being the Sun, approached him about whether it would be possible to make women's breasts bigger. In 2019, Polanski claimed breast enlargement was not a service he actually charged for, but it was the Sun's request. We had a very explicit agreement that said it was not a service I charged for, and I don't think the article reflected that. Polanski nonetheless granted the request, and at the session he is directly quoted as saying, "This is an extremely new approach, but I can see it becoming popular very quickly because it's so safe and a lot cheaper than a boob job." That doesn't sound like putting the exploitative tabloids in their place. It sounds like humouring them for profit and to advertise his business. The article describes the session and then claims the reporter's breasts grew for some while, gaining 4 inches in chest size before stopping. The reporter asked Polanski about this, and the hypnotist explained he had found her unconscious, wasn't happy with the experiment, so he asked for it to happen for only 10 days. There's no direct quote for this, but the other quote does support the claim he said it. Whether the woman's breasts did enlarge by psychic means is anyone's guess. The point is, Polanski claimed they did. There's no getting around it, or indeed them. This has become the chief point of ridicule, as it obviously would, being both bizarre and salacious. It has spawned many jokes, AI videos, and epithets online, the most prominent name for Polanski being the tit wizard. The Greens have pushed back. One suspects many have not actually read the original article. The line goes something like, "Oh, that old chestnut. It never happened. God, the right wing are just so desperate. They're attacking the man because they can't refute his arguments." They would know, right? Putting the lie to this is the fact Polanski admitted he did the experiment and apologized for it. The only misrepresentation the Sun is guilty of, so he claims, is they didn't state this was a one-off experiment. It makes sense that the modern left would want to deny the whole thing. In their world, the Murdoch Empire is pure evil, and the patriarchy is oppressing women by objectifying them and imposing body standards rooted in the male gaze. This is captured in Polanski's apology from 2019. The apology is to recognize that issues of misogyny and women's body confidence exist in society, and articles like that in The Sun are not helpful. If, to these people, you combine the two things, it's like a crime against humanity. If a reform politician, and it's not beyond the realms of possibility, had done this, they would go for the jugular. Or is it the jugs-yillers? I personally find Polanski's service bizarre, and it makes him seem like a conman and hypocrite, but it doesn't offend me. Neither should it really offend the loony left, who at the same time celebrate sex positivity, but it does. The untrustworthiness and double standards is the best and most legitimate line of attack against the tit wizardry story. But whatever your take, it is one of those things that will stick and keep being returned to.